Hi guys, NX Gamer here, another week, another video, another Watchdogs video. Delaying getting this video out to you, obviously work getting in the way, apologies for that, but here we are. Let's go. What was released earlier this week was the first PC footage of Watchdogs, so everyone can get a nice look at what it looks like on the PC, but this version specifically is all about the NVIDIA users. This was just released by NVIDIA this week, and basically what does it show? Well, it shows some lovely God rays here, some screen space reflection, some HDR lighting, all very sweet and tasty, all very nice looking. Now, that's not one of the exclusives to the NVIDIA card. What is exclusive to the NVIDIA card is something called HBAO, which is basically horizon-based ambient occlusion. Now what that is, that's basically how the sun reacts to objects, and light basically self-shadows on an object. So imagine a door frame, or an arm over a body, or a bin, or that tree shining through. It basically has a shadow on the inside where it's occluded from the sun. Now that's basically the method of how it works. Now NVIDIA cards get this effort to work because it uses a far more efficient method for NVIDIA users, and it is very, very good. Now basically you can see this bin on the top left hand side there, the curbs and the wall. They're examples of where it's bouncing around and AO is working at this point. It's a very small bonus. It's not something that makes a huge amount of difference, but ambient occlusion is present in any other version, including consoles and any AMD card that you've got. But HBAO Plus, which is what the NVIDIA cards have, is a more efficient version of ambient occlusion. It works really well. It's quite quick. It's more efficient than standard horizon-based ambient occlusion. But if you're running SSAO, which is screen space ambient occlusion, you tend to get a very similar effect. It's just a more efficient method of rendering the scene, and it does it in a few more passes and gives you a nice self-shadowed effect on objects. You can see it mostly in things like doorways, window frames, things like that highlight it more. Leaves, you'll get things that trees, they'll self-shadow, and even people if they want to use it to that level, but I don't think it's that high in this game. The other thing that they mention in the game is obviously the TXAA solution that NVIDIA use. Now this is a very good solution. It's basically temporal anti-aliasing, and it stops that sub-pixel crawl that you get. You can see in the background here the scene is quite clean and crisp. You can't see any movement from the trees, from the poles, from the fences, from the bin, the waste bin there, the left hand side. It's all a very clean, non-scrolly kind of underwater mesh effect. Not there. If you go to the PS4 footage here, you can see on the edge of that tree the flag just in the background. You can see that slight little crawl effect. That's basically what it gets rid of. It's not a massive thing. It's very minor. I personally don't like it because it makes it's even more blurry than FXAA, but you know, it's there if you've got an NVIDIA card. Now that's basically the features that they ran. They then showed you some lovely night footage in the rain, which is what we've all been waiting for, and this shot in particular is one of my favourites. There's loads and loads of light reflection. You can see Aiden's jacket reflecting the neon lights from the background, and it's wet from the rain. The cars reflecting the neon tubes, so there's umpteens amount of screen space reflection going on. All very tasty and all very shiny. Now if we go back to that shot a minute ago, I love this touch. He's cleaning his phone on his pocket when he gets it out because it's raining, and you see the global illumination light there passes up his body from the light of the phone. That's a very nice little touch, very detailed. I'm quite impressed with that. The next thing you get a shot of is obviously one of my favourites, which is when he's crossing the street. You've got a lovely amount of light bloom there on the left hand side. You can see the bloom of the headlight. It bounces off the shadow of the water puddle in the floor. It hides behind the pole, and then it occludes, and then you see it pops back out there in front of you. Now this basically shows off the rain and night effect that I'm trying to talk about. If we jump to an example here in Assassin's Creed, you can see here in the day, Assassin's Creed looks great, looks beautiful, very detailed, very smooth, lighting, shadows, all looks very nice. But then this scene, if we jump to a night shot in a second there, you can see that the whole scene looks completely different. That's exactly the same pier, exactly the same shot, but you've got that hazy fog effect, you've got the rain bouncing down, you've got the specular map showing off the water puddles and reflections. You can see the whole scene is just lit up by loads of global illumination lighting going on with, you know, sources around from the torches, the lightning in the background, the light flashing on the ground. It just makes the whole thing look more ambient and realistic, and it just gives it a lot more depth and feel to it. The day is very good lighting, it's very clean, it's very nice, but the scene just loses a lot of character that night and rain brings, and that's basically what we've got now with this footage from Watchdogs. So this is a shot where Aiden's crossing the street. You can see all of the screen reflection and the billboard on the top, the lights bouncing off the road. You've got little shots there of the headlights all catching the edge. And then if we jump this to the 2012 version, you can see that first of all they've dropped the bloom. It's a lot less exaggerated than it is in these shots. So the lens flares effect is gone, but it looks very similar. The only one thing you can notice is that like kind of foggy haze. It's a much stronger volumetric lighting process going on. Now if we run these scenes side by side together, it's arguable which one you prefer, but you can see certainly on the left hand side there's far more rain effects dripping from the bridge, which you haven't got in this shot. But you can see that the reflections in the ground, the images are a lot crisper and cleaner. Now don't get me wrong, the footage is not the best quality footage, but you can clearly see the image is much cleaner and crisp than what it was before. You can see that the physical base shade I mentioned before is gone. Let's not argue about that, let's not pretend. That has definitely gone, but that's a limitation of the 360 PS3. I'm sure that this will be reinstated with the next time we get a sequel, but right now what they've done is they've done a very good job of what they've got. Now this is the 2013 PS4 PC spec footage. Now on the right hand side you can see the light and reflecting on Aiden's jacket is almost identical. You can see there the water is catching it and reflecting off just like it is on the left hand side of the latest Nvidia footage. You can see the light reflecting off the ground, the light reflecting in the cities, the billboards the same what you saw earlier when Aiden was crossing the street. Everything about this game looks identical now to where we were last year. At tail end 2012 we started seeing proper footage from PS4 builds and so on and so forth. The rain, the reflections, the lighting, the animations, the reflections on Aiden's body all looks bang on and identical to what we saw before. And let this scene play out. Aiden obviously takes these guys down, douche, leg shots, make sure no one gets hurt. That's what we want. So Aiden's taking the decision there. Now if we jump into this boat, you can see the lovely tessellated water bobbing around there, which we know is present in all versions, or all current gen and PC versions anyway. If we shoot to this Nvidia shot, you can see the water. It's pretty much identical. It's the same bridge, same boat running along. This is the PS4 footage. Still looks good, still looks sweet. Again, PS4 footage here crossing the road. We compare this to the Nvidia shots. You can see it's all looking very, very similar. And that's because it is going to be the same. The Nvidia version basically has got the horizon based ambient occlusion and the TXAA solution bobbed in. That's pretty much it. I was surprised there's not going to be any Physics X additions. I thought we'd get some Physics X for volumetric smoke, but we're not. Again, the PC version and the PS4 version there. One of the things I'm trying to touch on here is you can see the light bloom from this shot, and this going back to the February 2013 footage. You can see that lens flare effect is pretty much the same. Again, the lighting on the floor, the reflections, a very strong specular map going on the ground there, giving it loads of contrast to the image and bouncing off the ground, which is brightening the image. This all looks present and correct in the latest footage that we've seen. So this will be another scene that we compare head to head when the game comes out. Again, you can see it here, lots of reflection, lots of light bouncing off the floor. Additional God rays though. They didn't look like they had muddy God rays running back in the older version. They've certainly gone to town on those here. You've got lots of rainbowish effects in the light there, so you've got the whole spectrum running through the light scale of the God rays. And pretty much that brings us to the end of my comparison on these footage. I don't want to spend too long going through it, but you can see that this game has nigh on delivered on where it started through 2012 aside. There is no fear here. So, you know, my question now to you guys is, what are you picking up on? What are you looking forward to? We're a few weeks away from launch now. Are you picking it up on an AMD machine? What have you got? What specs have you got? Are you picking an Nvidia machine? What have you got? What are you looking forward to? How does this game excite you? Are you getting it on Xbox One? Are you getting it on PS4? No matter which version you pick up, we're all in for a real treat. Thanks guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment, like and subscribe below. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.
And it begs the question, what will you do with that kind of power?